doing select readings through the New Testament, through the actual entire Bible. And today I was reading Exodus 2. And as I was reading it, a verse hit me that, like, in a way I never noticed before. Man, like, whoa. Exodus chapter 2 is about when the children of Israel were growing in number. Starts with 70 people. Now they got to about 2 million or so. And the Pharaoh, or the king of Egypt, did not know anything about Joseph, and he started to oppress the people, get them into slavery, had them under forced labor. It was just terrible. But even though he was doing that, the people kept increasing. And then he says, you know what, we're going to kill the babies when they're being born. And they got out of that. Then he says, listen, when you see a child under 2 years old, a male child, throw it in the Nile. I mean, so therefore, the level of opposition was crazy. But this is what I saw at the end of chapter 2, when the people were grieving and praying and crying out to God. It says their cry for rescue from slavery came up to God. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abram, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And verse 25 is the one that just went like boom. It says, God saw the people of Israel, and God knew. And therefore, it kind of like just the revelation is kind of boom, that God saw the people and God knew. And he just hit me. God sees me and he knows me. And I just wanted to just drop this note to tell you, man, listen, God sees you and he knows you. God sees your heart and he knows where you're hurting, where you're longing, where you're desiring, where you're crying out. He knows your heart, what makes you happy, what makes you sad. He sees your heart and he knows it. He sees your circumstance and he knows that the circumstances are temporary, that it will come to pass. He sees your circumstance and sees the situation you are in. He's not judging you to punish you. He's seeing where you're at and he knows where he wants to take you. And so when I read this where it says God saw the people and God knew, it says, it reminded me that God really sees us and he knows us. And because he knows the depths of our heart and he knows exactly what's going on with us, God remembers. Literally, the Bible means he recalled and brought back to the surface the covenant he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because God is a God of covenant, a promise-keeping God. And he remembers and recalls, not just for himself, but for you and me, that you would recall his promise for you. You will recall that God works all things together for the good for those who love him and those who are called according to his purpose. He sees you and he knows the longing and the desires of your heart. And God says, I know the plans I have for you, called to make you prosper, to give you a sure end and a future. God sees and God knows, and he wants you to know today that even though you may think you're alone, you think nobody notices, you think nobody's there in the middle of your pain and your crying, in the confusion of your longing and your desires. But I want to remind you today, as I was reminded, that God sees, and he sees you, and he sees your heart, and he sees your circumstances, and guess what? He sees your future. And God knows his plans he has for you. God knows that he doesn't give you more than you can bear. God knows that he's going to sustain you and strengthen you. God knows what you're going through. And he's a promise-keeping God. So would you call to mind the truth that God is with you? Would you call to mind that he has promised you a sure end, that what the enemy and anybody else may intend for harm, that God is intending it for your good? He wants to call to mind that he will never leave you nor forsake you. He will be with you to the very end of the days. He wants you to recall and bring back to mind the covenant he has made with his people, where he says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. And therefore, today is a day of your life, and therefore mercy and goodness comes to you. And so I want to encourage you, as I was encouraged this morning from the reading, and say, hey, listen, get into reading the Bible. It will change your life. Tap into the Bible tracker, just get into the juice. And let me pray for you. Lord, bless your people today. Release your grace and your love and your power upon them. Let them know that they know that they know that you, the living God, you see us, you hear us, you know what we're going through, you know our heart, and that God, you fulfill your promise. Hey guys, God bless you. Hey, this is just juicy. Let's just get back into the word more and more and just love on Jesus. Hey guys, this is good, huh? This is very, very cool. I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is just very, very cool. So